Hello, my audience. On 27th of May, Mothers in May series, I got another wonderful mother. She's having 3 Ds: dream, decide, and do. And then we'll see why and how she is doing. This motivational speaker, author, and a podcaster, taking her life along with her daughter to a next level, taking a authoritative next step to help many people in the community. Let me welcome Christine to our show. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, and thank you for having me today.
Christine, it's a pleasure to introduce you and your story to our series. Can you share who you are and how did you become the motivational speaker and an author? And then what's your story?
Wow, that's a bit of a journey. So I was working in forensic science, testing drugs and blood alcohol, and I always felt like I didn't quite fit in. So I wanted to get out, I wanted to help people. So I moved out of the laboratory, from laboratory, I wanted to get into sales. So I moved into laboratory and medical sales, became state manager, taking sales from 200,000 to 1.4 million in the territory. So I was quite proud of that. Then I became national sales manager. I was on a corporate trajectory. Met my husband, had my 2 children. We're renovating an inner city Victorian home. So actually real white picket fence lifestyle, and found out there was something wrong with my second daughter, Imogen. So Imogen.
Yes.
So from there, I had everything laid out. I was where I wanted to be in a corporate trajectory, and my life went out the window. Literally went out the window. The floor fell open below me. I couldn't go back to work. We didn't know what was wrong with her. And I remember walking down this grey corridor, Christmas time, to see this doctor. I didn't know what for, to talk to him about what was going on with her. So when she was young, she was stiff, and she eventually was diagnosed with something called Schwartz-Jampel syndrome, which means that she's stiff. So I felt like aliens had landed on my roof and taken my life. And then I slowly got myself back into things. I took up a role as Northern Region Disability Network Coordinator in Melbourne. That meant that I had connections with thousands of organisational people, carers, people with disability. From there, some people asked me to stand in the state election on disability issues. So I'd never imagined that I'd get into politics or be, that wasn't in my scope, if you like. So I stood that year. We didn't get elected, but the thing with standing in elections is you get to stand on a platform and people get to hear you. So we stood on the forefront of what is now NDIS. People in the disability world, they'll understand, but it's National Disability Insurance Scheme. So that's the program, if you like, that supports people with disability in Australia. So changed my life drastically when it rolled in. I used to get 5 hours a month to go out and have a social life, and now I get support for my daughter, pretty much 7 days a week, or not quite 7 days a week, but I get to go out, I get to do things like this. I get to leave the house, whereas before I was sort of tied to the house, and that can become quite overbearing. So my life took a different turn. It meant that all the things, I've got 2 children. I've got an older daughter, and one of the things that you ask is about cherished moments. Well, my older daughter made me a mother. That was special. And all those things that you worry about with my first child, with a normal child, and then having a second one with disabilities, all the things that you are worried about in the first place went out the window. Seemed trivial, because when your child's got something wrong and you don't know what it is, it's a whole different ball game. So that's been my journey. I've got slung out of the journey. I was into a different journey. I stood in all 3 levels of government now, elections on disability issues. So standing for people, carers, people with disabilities, other carers like me. So
I'm so like, so I'm just finding out the word what I can refer, because the long and exciting sort of like a life journey that you just sharing with like, less intensity, like, you did stand for an election, and then you were the core reason for reforming this great platform for the whole people suffering through disability. And then
Not
you
the sole
still,
reason we were at the forefront of a wave.
yeah,
Like we were standing up going, hey, what
ex-
about us? And
yeah.
we were part of what changed. And that's something that I'm very proud of.
Because without, we always say that, the crying babies always get the food. But if you are not telling the issues that having for us, for the disability, uh, families having one or more than that, and the struggle is not just that family member, it's actually going into the whole family, and sometimes even to the extended family. And all those things, the awareness was very less, I would say, in 2013, when I got my son diagnosed with cerebral palsy. It was, I think, just didn't even start. NDIS was not there. I was like going through the scope, and then no idea what to do. But people like you were going in and out, and then knocking all different doors that you can to find out a solution for that. And we know that this NDIS is helping a lot of different places in different people in different ways. And the reformations happening these days, I think that's where more of like a justice happening, because when it came up, everyone grabbed it. But I think big bunch of people didn't know how to utilize that. So I think you are still continuing that journey to find out the right way of getting the real funding for the needy people. So that's a great motivation, Christine. But you are just saying that, yes, I'm just did this as part of my life. But what the people around around the country should thank people like you who are pushing your claim or your cry to different agencies and different people. So I would say a huge thank you from the whole people around the country who is actually utilizing this NDIS scheme, because without you and people like you, it won't really come into practice. That's a great movement that you have done.
Look, I
And
think
again, mhm,
I think people complain about it, and it's, it does have its foibles, but
it
I think
is, yeah.
we need to work with it. And for me, it changed my life. Like I say, I had 5 hours. I become a single parent carer, 5 hours a month, and 5 hours, and it was Saturday night. That's it. All my social life was Saturday night. This once a month, and I would have to do handstands and backflips to get Imogen ready, put her to bed. I wouldn't feed her, so that the carer could come and sit on my couch and watch TV. So
Yeah.
whereas now, it's changed quite a bit, where there's more flexibility.
And I think more on like, the life of a carer that is getting prioritized now, because everyone thinks that you are a mother, you have to look after, it's your problem. But now everyone have an understanding that you need to fill your cup first before you sharing that with your family and the community. And that's what exactly NTI is doing. But I would say some mindset who is too much cunning and too much into that money making made some real issues in that NDIS area, which is a big another topic for discussion. But what I will pick up is like, at least you and myself also getting the support from the government, and find out the different people who can really work with our kids and take them to different places, and even change their life, because without those support, the allied health and all different people around NTIS is actually making different worlds to these people. So a big salute to the people who are doing good job, including you. I would love to, check with you, Christine. I know that the life is not easy, or was not easy when you were having only that 5 hours per week. And then now all these things that happened, and now you are giving back to community through your speaking events, through your book that you have done. So what was like, what was your mindset when you had that like a real change in your life? So from that 5 hours to getting all this good help from the government.
I think that when I stood in the state election in 2006, I came to realize, or came to view my daughter as a gift. So not all at once, but as a gift, in that I was on this corporate trajectory, and that was that journey, and then that life was thrown out the window. But I've come on a different journey, and what I wanted to share is, you were asking about the cherished moments, and I cherished the time with both of my daughters. So I would take my older daughter away, to get respite, and we go away, and I took her to Sunshine Coast and took her to Disneyland, and I got to share those things. And so sharing those times with both of my daughters has been something that I cherish. With my daughter Imogen, one of the things that I cherish about her is that finding her as the gift. And there was a time when, that really kind of developed, in that I was about to go out one day. It was my birthday, and I thought I'll spend it with Imogen. And then I was going out, and I was about to go out, and I, went to get her out of bed, and she threw up all over me. And I thought she's just where she is. She's just pure love. Like, she's not like, oh, I'm going to throw up on mum because, she's annoying me today, or, and I just realized that she is just love, and what a special gift that she is. She doesn't ask for much. So she's 23 now. She doesn't walk. She doesn't talk. So I have to anticipate her needs like she's a 5-month-old baby, just to give you context. And she's peg fed. But yeah, so one of the most cherished moments was when she threw up on me.
On your birthday.
But it just brought home to me
Yeah.
what a gift that she is. And one of the other things that I wanted to share about being a mother and a carer, and that it's taken me on this journey. I got elected to local government. So Imogen they sent me a letter to say she had to go to the children's hospital, and they said, she's going to go to the dentist section. So I thought, we're just going in to have a bit of a teeth clean. Turned out they got it mixed up, and she was actually going for 9-hour surgery. She was going to be in ICU after that. And at the same time, I had the people from the Electoral Commission calling me saying, look, we're going to have this recount, and you're in. And I was like, oh yeah, no worries. We're just going for a bit of a, and then next thing, it's a 9-hour surgery. She's going to be in hospital for 2 weeks, and the recount's during that time. So that was a kind of a big thing. I was like, oh,
Your celebration was in the hospital, actually.
So she was in ICU. I had to get somebody to sit with her and go to the recount. And I went to the recount, and I got elected, and there was reporters, and and then I went back to the hospital, and reporters are ringing me about, what's my policy position? How's it going to be? And there I was in the hospital, just mum. And I was like, oh, now what? Like, I'd just been, all this hype and everything, reporters ring me, and here I am in the hospital eating hospital food. like I was still a mum. And then I had to make the decision about, what am I going to do? Like, here I am, a full-time carer, 24/7, and I'd never really left Imogen before. So I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I thought that the people of the City of Whittlesea had asked me to stand up for them. They'd asked me to sit at the table and make those decisions. So I thought, I can't let them down. So I'll do whatever I can to make it work. I didn't know if it would work or not. And so, I came back and took my seat at the table. And because I'd been so noisy, and because I had so much to say, by the time I got to the council table and I looked around, and they went, we thought you'd always been here. We thought you were just one of us. Yeah, welcome aboard. But it was a a great adjustment in terms of I had to make the decision to take it on, but I also had to make the decision to let go of being the only person that could look after Imogen. And that was probably one of the hardest things to do. And I guess it was made easier by the enormity of the choice or the enormity of the role that I was taking on. So I got used to that. Council meetings are at 6 o'clock. The chambers are 5 minutes down the road, and I used to start getting ready at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because it was just hard. And then by the time I sort of got into the rhythm and had support workers into the rhythm, I could sort of get ready at 5:30. But it was just to start with, it was so difficult. So one of the things that I would share with carers, even mothers, let go, allow others to help you. Get that support, particularly carers. Engage other people where you can and let go of being the only person that can do it for your child.
Yeah, that's a great story from hospital RCH to Whittlesea council table. And I'm sure that, they are really grateful for all the good things that you have done. So can you share with us your experience as a, state member over there for Whittlesea? So what was your
As a
good thing?
councillor, yes, I got elected to local government, and people think that you come with a magic wand and you can just make everything change. It doesn't work like that as a decision-making process. So I'd probably say be a little bit kinder to your local members, make friends with them. They can offer you a lot. The experience, having said that, I was able to achieve amazing things. And when I got there and they said, I wasn't the only carer at the table, but when I got there, they said, anything that you want to do with disability, we know that you understand, we'll make it happen for you. So I was able to get a cafe for people with disabilities established. And I was also able to get a satellite school for children with disabilities in the local area. So there were huge things. I drove the cafe and I drove the special school. So, and that meant that children who were in the far reaches of the council municipality were able to get to school rather than, traveling for 2 hours. They could get to school that was closer, so that, when you've got a child with special needs, as you would understand, traveling can have an impact on them. And they don't get to travel just to the local school. You have to travel, my other daughter would get picked up by the bus and just off she went to school. Whereas when you've got a child with special needs, it's not quite that easy. So the experience was sometimes hard, but it was worthy. It was worthy. And, I was able to get those things done and, things that I'm very proud of.
Right, because, people seeing something in you, that's why they're electing you. And then they believe in you that you can make changes for them. So that's what you have done. So 2 major milestones that you have done for that area. And then, it will be there forever, showing your hard work and then your commitment that you have done for the state. So that's a great, again, action that you have done. Even though you were suffering in your personal life, you were doing that to your people. Yeah, that's great, Christine. And what's your current actions and services to the community now?
So I want to share with people that, you asked, how do I cope with, how do I get downtime? And one of the things that I say is dream, decide, do. And I have a story where I was looking for things as I become a single parent carer. How can I have fun? How can I enjoy? How can I relax or find things that I like? So I was testing out different things that I liked. And in my before marriage life, I used to sail. So I thought, I'll go and try that out. And so I went down to this come and try day and we went out sailing and it was exhilarating. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. And then I went, I can't do that because I'm a carer. Oh, And then I thought, no, I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to make this work. What do I need to do? What are the things? What do I need to decide to do? So I had the dream, I can sail, decided I was going to make it happen. What are the steps that I need to take? What are the things I need to do? So dream, decide, do. So I mapped out what I needed to do. it meant that I would be out on the water, maybe uncontactable. So I needed to get support workers that could make decisions, and I needed to give them a decision-making framework to look after my daughter. And now I've been sailing for 7 years, and people say, "Oh, you're a carer and you sail?" But I've given the framework again. It wasn't easy to let go. And for, people that might be carers that are listening, it's not easy to let go. And I think you need to take little steps, like little steps to, I left Imogen for maybe 3 hours and maybe a day, and then overnight, I was like, oh, how's that going to work? But you need to kind of practice. And so, dream, decide how to make it happen, and then take those steps. So that's how I find time for myself and how I make things happen.
That's I love the way that you're picking that framework for her, and then you plant that, and then you did that action. So you mentioned 7 years of sailing. Which is your favorite port, or where do you do the sailing? So is it from Melbourne? How do you do it?
Yeah, out of rural Melbourne. So so out of St Kilda, which is at rural Melbourne Yacht Squad. Yeah. And people I think they don't realise that I am a carer, because I've committed, I've decided that I'm going to do it. However, there is an organisation called Waves, and they've got a big boat, and they take children. So if anyone's listening, they take children with disabilities and carers out on the big boat, and so that's something. And they're all volunteers, so I'm about to get involved with them as well.
That's good to know. So my listeners, if you are a carer and got some disability related, it's called Waves, right? Waves.
I'll send you the link so that you can share it.
Yeah, okay. So we can share the link here, because I do remember I used to do the sailing from Brighton Pier, which is also a voluntary for the health workers. So they call sailing, sailing the spirit high, like it's taking your spirit so high. And it was really good experience to have that 2-hour sailing in the in that stormy ocean. It's really good experience. So I can guarantee that whatever you experience is really refreshing yourself, and then come back with your all your worries will go, and then you will be a new person. That's an awesome way to refill your cup, Christine. And then the interesting part is, like, you came back to the place that where you really love, because that's what your dream, and then you decide to go there, and you did it. So, and that's the 3Ds that you are trying to share with other people, and then make sure that they can do it in their life as well. That's great. So all the questions about the motherhood, you mentioned about the cherished moment that you had. One is the time that you had with your girls, taking to different places, Disneyland and all other places, and taking the photos and connecting. And the next one is your birthday present from her. And I think that's very special, that your mindset is like, is really is good, because rather than, okay, you messed up with that moment, but you picked up her love, which is what I can see your motherhood clearly picking up her as your own, I would say, own carer, and then helping her to give a right life in this world. And then you mentioned about how you picking all your own ideas, your own filling cup activities through your 3Ds. But let me check again. You were working full time for the council, and it's a 24/7 job, because anytime they can come and call for many things. The media will be behind you, lots of councillors and normal local people. Everything is like you need to give them answers, and then you need to face them. And at the same time, you have this, even though you have carers or helpers, you still owe your time to your girls. So it's sort of like a highly a demanding job in parallel you were doing. So how did you, I would say, handle those things? Because it's equally important, because you're serving community, you're serving your family. How did you do that?
I think it's a matter of dream, deciding that I'm going to do it. But there are times when, like when my daughter had to have the 9-hour surgery, or you have to make decisions, or I have been in meetings, or have been places where they call me and say, she's doing this, or she's having seizures, or something, and I have to make the decision. And then it comes home to me, the enormity of the responsibility.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I think that I do it, and I've got the framework. I mean, I've been called when I went to write my first book. There was the first time I left her for that long, and I went away for the weekend to write the book. And I got there, I'd only been there like 2 hours, and the support worker rang me and said, "I can't find the keys. I can't get into your house." I was like, you know, but when I had a backup plan, like I had a key, hidden here and there, and then just at the same time, my older daughter come along. So I think that I have a decision-making framework for me, and decision-making framework for the support workers. But sometimes it does kind of crash, if you like, when I
Mm.
realize the enormity, and I'm making those decisions. I have to make life and death decisions for my daughter on my own.
That's so hard being a single mother and deciding, your kid's life. And
Yeah.
it's fully emotional, and at the same time, you need to be doing the right decision as well. That's, I would say, a bit scary, and always it's close to heart time, right? When you sign the papers in before surgery and decide something, especially when you feel that it's just a normal appointment at a surgery. That's also,
We're not here for
also
the
really, yeah. I think you were thrown into different deep ends, but you were still smiling, which is which is really good to see. Like, you are here with all these troublesome time, but you did everything through the proper decision making, and then no doubt about your life and how to create a life for other people, because it's more like your tagline is like, you're creating good life for the people who love, because that's where you're putting your full emotions, full energy then,
Yeah.
rather than doubting and, finding out other ways.
I
So
think I think I think that I have to live the best life that I can, so that my daughter, or both of my daughters, can
Mhm.
live their best life. Like I feel that I owe it to Imogen to live the best life, because if I don't live my best life, then she doesn't get to live. Like if I'm hanging around home moping and saying, "Oh, I could have done this, I could have done that," that's not a positive impact on her. So I feel it's my duty.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, I personally believe by giving opportunities to other people to become carer and doing stuff, you are enabling those families as well, because you're giving them a career and actually another life as well. So that's what the system is doing. Like, they're helping each other, and they're building each other, and then they giving energy to give their own life in this world, because everyone has the right to live a peaceful and happy life in this world. So you're becoming an enabler for that. Exactly. That's what you're doing. I would love to check with you. You mentioned different things that you're doing, but do you have any top 3 rules or a top 3 secrets that you're doing in a regular basis in your life to keep your life happy and always smiling?
Well, it is about finding something that brings you joy. That's sailing. I also walk the dog. I also go to the gym. It's about keeping myself as healthy as I can, so that I can look after her. But the secrets are deciding, making sure that you do it, and deciding to do it, and not leaving yourself till last.
Hmm. Yeah. I think more of like, bringing the energy into your life, which is always positive, and that will help you. Mhm.
And I think seeing her as a gift, not a burden, if you like, seeing Imogen
Yeah.
as a gift, because my life was kind of wrenched out, like I had, wrenched out of the way, and, what was it going to be like? But then I've been allowed to go on a different journey, um, than stop and smell the roses and spend the time with her. I might have been jetting. Well, I was jetting all around the world. I left my older daughter when she was 6 months old and traveled all around Australia and New Zealand. So it allowed me to stop and smell the roses and have a different life. I don't know what the other life might have been like, but just enjoy this life. And that would be my advice to people, is see the journey as a gift and, enjoy it as it is. Have you heard of the Welcome to Holland poem?
No, share with us.
So, Welcome to Holland, and I'll share it with you, that you can share later. So a woman wrote about her child and finding out there was something wrong with that child when they were born. I think it was Down syndrome. And she said, you think that you're going on a holiday. It's like you're going on a holiday and you're going to be going to Rome and, Milan and swanning around, in gondolas, and you land and you land in Holland. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't order Holland.
Holland.
Not where I wanted to be. And then you realize that, well, Holland's got tulips and they've got windmills and they've got other things that you can enjoy. So it's a very beautiful analogy and the way to look at things.
She was preparing for European countries, right? And then she ended up in Holland, something like that. The story I remember.
It wasn't where she thought she was going to land, but hey, it has beautiful things, and appreciate the beautiful things that you get to see as well.
Yeah, I think that's what exactly the life, because I do remember my stories. Like, my son was diagnosed with Down syndrome, and then after the delivery they said, oh, no Down syndrome for him, and I was so happy. And I didn't know that until he was trying to crawl, that he was having trouble with his body parts. Then they identified he's having cerebral palsy. Even though he's not having like an intellectual disability, he is having this physical disability and having all this surgery. So it's a different mindset. I was ready to look after even he was on Down syndrome, but like, oh, we were saying, oh wow, praise God, you gave a full time, like in a good healthy child. But during all these hurdles, we identified that as another one. So yeah, it's more of like accepting them as it is, as a gift. That's where I'm also getting the energy to look after them. So I got 3 boys. They're growing well, but like, as you mentioned, if you are not taking that as a gift, it will be hard for us to take into different journey. I was always thinking, oh, after the pramming time it is okay because they will walk, but then will be like, all the different levels of their life have their own risk and issues. But the way that you looking after them and the mindset that you have is always helping us to be chill and then be happy. Yeah. I'm so proud to hear that it's been 23 years for you, Christine, journeying with her and taking her in different milestone of her life. Not only that, you were alone, and then you need to raise another girl as well. So it's a great responsibility that you were doing in your life. Just stopping on your motherhood area, but again, your single parenting, and another important topic that we are discussing in the month of May is family violence. And everywhere, and if you're having a disability, the chances are higher. And then we can see all the statistics is saying violence rate is very high if you go with the people with the disability. So what's your thought on family violence awareness, and do we really need that? Is that powerful, or how can you share your thoughts on it?
So I have experienced some family violence, domestic violence, a long time ago, and I think back and I think I don't know how I took the decision to get out of it. I remember all the feelings, so I understand how women who are experiencing it, people say, oh, they should just leave, they can just leave. And I understand that you can't just leave. It's not just like that. It's not just kind of single track. So I understand how that is. I ran a clothesline event. So the clothesline event is a domestic violence where they pick the T-shirts on the line to demonstrate. It's actually in October, the number of women affected by family violence. And I ran that in 2018, and I had somebody turn up that was shall I say, perpetrator. And, you know, we had women speaking about their experiences, and I had somebody who was supporting women, and this person got up and was saying about how hard it was for him and how it was difficult. And I was trying to shut him down. And somebody else in the audience said to me, no, I want to hear him speak. I want to know why he does that. Why do they make those decisions? And I think from that moment, I too think that we need to understand what's going on for the guys or what's going on for the perpetrators. I think that we need to look at it holistically and work out why it is happening. I think that, you know, we can spend a lot of money and we can spend a lot of time and we can put them all in jail, but that's going to be a mighty big jail. But I think we need to understand what's going on for the guys. You know, it was actually a guy in the audience who said, I want to hear what he has to say. And I think that we need to find these guys and ask them what's going, what gives, you know?
Yeah, why they're doing, and then what's the real reason behind it? Or maybe it may be, you know, I totally agree that it's not just man or woman. They both can be victim and perpetrators, and they may have many different reasons. Maybe the childhood trauma, maybe the need for something else, and they maybe only know the way that reacting that way because there is no real awareness happened in other time. I think in the history, it's more of like whatever comes in, you take it. But this is the time that we're telling that how to respect people, men and women at the same time. You need to respect, and you need to start teaching kids from the very young age, because I think the lack of respect is the core for all issues happening in the family. So if you can teach them how to respect, I think we can eliminate this issue for a great extent. That's
Or
what I
maybe
personally believe. Yeah.
maybe we need more good male role models. Because
Yeah.
I don't think that we need to figure out what's going on, and work on that. You know, we can't just put them all in jail.
I don't think that is, you know, putting them into jail is the real way of closing off that issue, because it's more of like every human got good or bad attitudes or good or bad side, but how to change their mindset and then how to bring them back into the reality that you are doing something wrong, please change it, and then have a life together. So that sort of education is what I am really looking forward to, because I'm raising three boys and they will be leading three families. And if they don't know how to respect women and how to look after their family around us, no point that we sacrificing our life to raise them. So that's what I'm really passionate about, educating and giving awareness to the community, and then showcase how to bring the family in peace and harmony. So, you know, people like you influencing the community got real potential there to, you know, showcase or yeah, start different initiative to educate people. The way that you mentioned with that, the guy from that audience, people want to know. And some people are really reluctant to talk about it because they may be also going through that eggshells, and then they must be scared to talk about it because sometimes that may break their own relationship. So it's a big area, but what we are doing through the Dominus Missi is to showcase and start this conversation and then find out the ways to improve the awareness in the community. Yeah, so thank you for
Maybe we need more mothers bringing up boys as an example, like yourself. Like, this is the way you do it.
we need more people showing love, respect, and joy in their family. Like, you know, more family showing that values. That's the goal. But yeah, let's see. It's like one at a time, shining small little candles to the other people. That's the way to go, and that's what we are all trying, Christine. So I'm just looking at, all the stories that I heard from your political side, your motherhood, your personal life, your passion as sailing. I love that. And I want to find out from you, for our listeners, who is, very passionate about finding out all different areas, and would love to hear from you. What will be your message for our listeners?
Yeah, so have a dream and decide to take action and actually do the thing. And if they want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Facebook, Christine Stow, on Facebook, or christinestow.com.au. If they want to connect with me, and you can send me an email, christine@christinestow.com.au. And I'd love to hear people's stories. I'd love to hear their dreams, and I'd love to hear if you're a carer and you're interested to follow my journey, or if you want to have a chat about how you can improve things for yourself, even about NDIS. You can ring me and complain about it even.
Exactly. I think I would be like, referring people to connect with you about NTIS, because in and about, everything about that, and what are the areas that possible, like common mistakes that carers or organizations are doing. So I would encourage, especially from the west side of Melbourne, we have many NDIS providers and people. So it will be good to come to you, Christine, and then find out the right way to utilize the fund that government is providing to the people. And I would give a big hi to the Whittlesea people who are listening, because you are the fortunate people that you had, Christine, to reform all these things. And then she's still helping people around the community, and then going, out of the council area now, and then going to the nationwide helpful, doing different things. And the way that I love it is like she's going international as well through the virtual summit. She was there sharing her story for 100 speakers virtual summit in May for an international audience. And then that's just the start. And she is sharing her stories and, inspiring many people. So thank you, Christine, for having this time with us and sharing your journey with us, and encouraging people to dream and decide and do those dreams. So thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you for having me on. So yeah, if you're a carer and you think things are really hard, there's always a possibility if you dream, decide, and take the action.
Exactly. So my listeners, if you are listening to me today and Christine, so come and connect with Christine. Anything related to NTIS, anything related to your dream. And if you want to decide and do anything, and if you love to have a sailing experience, yes, come and connect with Christine. And another one, if you are listening to me during this series of 27 days, we have some more days to go. I'm sharing my love with you, my listeners, through the music. And if you love music, I invite you all come to the concert happening on July 21st at Westgate Stadium, Altona. Stephen Davesy, the magical musician, is having great concert on and the cause is family violence. So it is the family violence awareness. And then we are partnering with Royal Children Hospital and the family violence organizations to give the awareness to the family in and around. So come and enjoy the concert. And if you want a 10% off for the ticket, just give me a number or connect with me, or use the promo code BP10. And I'm giving free tickets through this series. There will be some questions, and if you answer the question, you will be the winner of a platinum ticket, and you will be sitting in the first row of the concert. So connect and answer and enjoy the music. The magic will happen. And again, if you want to dream and to do a sailing with Christine, connect with her. This is Dominus Nisi, and we are spreading love, joy, and peace. So thank you, Christine, again, and then we'll connect with you soon.